Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for when you come to them. For the tarot portion, I'm going to use the Idyllis Tarot, which is a smaller deck, but it's easy to shuffle, and I like the images on it. It is an Omnido. That's the creator, Omnido. There's this information with the what do we call it? I can't. My brain is not telling me what that's called, but put your camera thing on that or push that button, however that works, and you can find it. There's also the information there. I believe that they're just on Instagram. I found this deck on Amazon, I want to say. So if you're interested, go ahead and check that out. The oracle cards I'm going to use for this one is the Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. The website, where is Sandra's website? I want to say she has her own website, but here's the Hay House website on the bottom, just below her picture. And I thought she had her own, maybe I'm mistaken. But yeah, I thought there was more websites. Maybe not. Oh, there they are. A bunch of Hay House websites. There they are, at the bottom. Okay, and last but not least, the dice I use a 21-sided dice for the major arcana, which does omit the Fool, but I make it work. And I believe that one is from this website, Tom Anders, and there's the information there if it focuses. If it's easier, here's another one of those. My brain cannot remember what you call that thing, but there it is. For the minor arcana, I use a 14-sided dice to choose the actual card, and then a 4-sided dice to choose the element. And the 14-sided dice came from here. I've had the 4-sided dice for the longest time. I couldn't tell you where they came from. I want to say it was Math Art Fun. Can't really see it here. Hopefully you can see it. mathartfun.com. All right, and that's what we have for that. Of course, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much, and let's go on to your read. Hello, Libra. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Libra? Ooh, strength right off the bat. So, I feel like this has happened a lot for Libra. Maybe I'm wrong. But it's like, it's coming from a place where it wasn't the best. And now it's looking better. But how do we keep it there? And actually, when is it going to get there? Because I feel like it's getting better. You got strength here. You got a lot of strength. You've endured a lot, whatever this is. This is something that I feel like... I don't feel like the trip is over. I don't feel like I've gone the whole distance on this situation. But it's been really difficult in the past. Like, this is one of those things where if I had to do it again, I wouldn't. Because it was just so much. Even though you've grown a lot, you've become a stronger person, and it has had its benefits, I literally feel like if I was really honest with myself and I looked back and like if I had known when I got involved in this situation where this was going to go, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. And I'm also kind of beat down with this situation in the sense of like, I know I've gone this far and I've achieved a lot, but I feel worn out and I feel like I don't want to keep going because it seems like there's so much left to still do. There's still so much left to do that I'm feeling worn out. I'm feeling worn out. And you built this situation up. You've done a lot. And you're very effective here. And it's not that you don't like it currently. You do. There's a lot here that you do love. But it's just been such a struggle to get here. You do have a lot of love around you. I get that. There is a lot of love around you with the Lover's card and the Ace of Cups. It doesn't have to be a romantic thing with the Lover's card, but definitely people who genuinely are appreciative of you, see you for who you are, and are really appreciative for everything you've done for the situation. There's a lot of love and a lot of care coming towards you. Even though that's there, again, I feel like it's such a mountain and there's so much left to do that I feel like you're considering like letting it go. In some sense, it's kind of like I just want to move on from it. I don't really want to do this anymore. I don't really want to be a part of it anymore. And the question is, where is that going to go for you? I just realized I didn't put out the oracle cards yet. So, yeah. Okay. So, when I see this in a weird way. Whatever this is, I feel like it's time to realign my commitments. And maybe this situation has been overtaxing and very draining for you. Um, when I say realign my commitments, I feel like maybe I've been overly committed to other people or other situations. So for some people, this happens with a job. People get very committed to their job. They do everything for their job. Could be a person. Could be your family. If you have a family and you just like, at one point it seemed like it was necessary, but at some point it just was like it just overran your life, and it's kind of like I don't feel like I'm helping anymore. I feel like I'm living people's lives for them. I feel like they can't even wipe their nose unless I go grab the tissue and do it for them. You could have one of those lives right now. Every now and then that happens. By realigning commitments, I feel like I'm not committed to all those things anymore. I'm going to be committed to myself. Self-loyalty. What do I want? Isn't it time for me now? Maybe it's time to where, it might be a harsh lesson, but, I start pulling back. And, if somebody's nose starts dripping, I just let it drip. And they need to figure out what they need to do to clean their own mess. Maybe that job can flourish a little better on its own. And if it can't, maybe I don't need that job. Maybe I need to go somewhere else. Maybe it's time to look at me. What makes me happy? You're not going to walk away from all your responsibilities. I just don't see that being realistic. But it's kind of like, you know what? Maybe I'm just going to hang back a little bit. And I'm not going to run up to help people as fast as I used to. And then maybe I'm going to evaluate, do they really need my help? Or maybe is it time that they just start helping themselves? Stuff like that. I don't think I'm even interested in teaching people to help themselves. I feel like I'm more in the line of, at this point, they should know how to help themselves. I'm just going to hold back and see if they do it. And if they don't, maybe they don't need it. Maybe they can do without. If they want to walk around with a drippy nose, maybe they need to walk around with a drippy nose. It's not mean. It's just kind of like, I feel like I'm exhausted. That's pretty much how it is. Now, by you pulling back, there will be some conflicts here with other people. And I feel like other people have to work it out. People are going to want you to come back in. People are going to want you to solve that for them. But if you decide not to, they'll learn to work it out on their own. Some people have problematic behaviors and they create their own problems. By you going in there and solving it for them, it seems to just keep them in that problematic behavior because you always go and solve it. If you don't, they have to answer up to their own problematic behavior and they have to learn to change it themselves. So they will learn to work it out. It may be a very tough growing pain, but they will do that. So you don't have to do this anymore if you don't want to. In fact, I don't even think you have to watch if you don't want to. If you're willing to do that, and I feel like you're exhausted, I don't feel bad with you pulling back. I feel like you've done this for long enough. I also see you watching from the sidelines, kind of like, unless it looks like it's going to really hit devastation, which I don't see it hitting devastation. I just see people getting on each other's nerves or going at each other and being really rotten to each other. But at some point, they're going to realize that they have to work it out themselves or it's not going to work out at all. I don't see any major points of devastation. There is going to be the moment where you're going to feel better. You're going to feel stronger. You're going to feel like, you know what, I'm kind of feeling good again. I'm feeling like my old self again. Maybe I could step back in and maybe I could try to help a little bit. They're saying don't do that. They're warning you when you start feeling good again, if you decide to go this path and they're like, I'm starting to feel good again. I'm starting to feel like I could add back in. I'm starting to feel like I could become a part of it again. They're saying don't become a part of it again. even though you love these people and there's a reason you would, what's going to happen is you're going to it's like a cycle. It's kind of like you're going to return back into it. It'll be good for a while, and then it'll start going a little sour, and before you know it, you'll be back at that spot again. And you don't have to be. You don't have to be, because it's you're going to love these people either way. You care either way. That's not the point. But by getting back involved in this situation, you're going to return back into that cycle, and it's not something. It's not a place you want to be. You're still loved either way. Let's remind you of that too. You're still loved, but it's almost like you get heartfelt into this situation, and before you know it, you're like, oh, I'm knee deep. I won't go any farther. Then you're neck deep, and you're like, uh-oh, I think I'm about to drown, and then you're drowned. You're back where you were. The advice on what to do is when you start feeling good again, remember where you've been. Remember everything you have done. And remember what got you into that spot where you felt overwhelmed or you felt like you were just drained of everything. Hold the line. Realize you don't have to fix everybody's problems. It's time for you to be happy. Hold that line. Don't get involved in that stuff again. This is one of those moments where I think of Libras as very talented. I just feel that they're a very talented group. Maybe it's time for you to take that talent and start building on your talents, and finding your happiness. Building on your talents and finding your happiness. Most of us get to a point in life where, we don't seem to have the time to do the things that we really enjoy in life, be it something artistic, be it going for walks outside, whatever it may be, being it researching certain things, maybe it's reading books, maybe you love reading, whatever it may be. Instead of getting re-involved in that stuff again, have the confidence to go towards what you want and feel comfortable with that. You don't have to save everyone else's life, especially it's just going to bring you back into that negative spiral. The love is still going to be there. That's not going to disappear. You're still going to stay connected with people. You're just not getting into their situations, into their issues. Follow your happiness. This is your moment where you could have that happiness. I feel like there's going to be a lot of you that are looking at something in life like, oh, I wish I had time for that again, or I wish I could do that again, or I wish I had the time to do this, or something like that. They're like, you can, and this is how you get there. You can do that, and this is how you get to that. Now, it's going to be kind of weird, because other people do have the ability to help themselves, and they're going to flourish too. They need to. Some people need that school of hard knocks. Without you fixing it for them, it's going to be a little bit more rough for them. But sometimes those rough lessons are the ones you never forget. I know when I was a kid, I had a couple instances where I was, playing on a railing and I fell and it hurt. I didn't play on that railing anymore. I learned that was a bad idea. It was a harsh lesson. I learned. I'm just saying. Didn't do it again. Didn't have that problem again. For you, it's going to be also another thing if you decide to go down that path and you start enjoying your life the way you want to, you have the time to do the things you want to do, it's going to be weird because the Wheel of Fortune says sometimes it's going to be, I love it, I love having this time. Other times I'm going to be like, I remember when I used to be more connected with this, or I used to know when this was going on, and now I'm wondering what's going on there. Or it's kind of like where I'm looking at it like, oh, they're struggling, I can really help them figure that out. But if I do that, I'm going to get sucked right back into that. Sometimes you're just going to feel like you're on the outside. You're going to feel like I'm not as connected as I used to be. That's the Five of Wands. And you're going to have these moments where you're going to feel like, I feel like I'm just like, I'm screwing people over by not helping them. Their life could be better if I would just help them. I could tell them what I'm seeing. I could help them find a better way to do things. And I feel like I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm sneaking out of the situation. I'm just like, I'm being this little, kind of like this little Grinch. I don't know what a Grinch is. I feel like I said that word wrong. But anyway, I feel like I'm being a little jerk by just not being a part of things and not helping them. This is going to fade in and out. What they're trumping it with, what they're giving you the highlights with is like, you are protected, everything's protected. There's a balance to this. When you feel that way, they're advising for you to remind yourself when they need you, they'll come toward you. You won't be completely out of the loop on everything. But when people become more self-sufficient, they start handling their own problems the way they should, you have more time to enjoy your life. You're still going to be involved in things. You're still going to be doing the Libra things that you were doing anyway, just not at the point where it's sucking the whole life out of you. It's getting used to the new balance where you're enjoying life and you're feeling more strength and keeping that protected and valuing that. It's because it's like, if this goes ideally, so say for example, 1 week, it used to be every waking moment you were involved in something and you just couldn't get a breath. You couldn't get a breath in where you weren't helping or involved or reading or answering a text or doing this or doing that. The new way of doing it is kind of like you still have your normal job. You're still doing with that stuff. You're still interacting with people. It's just like maybe anywhere from 1 hour to 3 hours a day. You're just keeping that time for you. Which is not a bad thing. So, for example, say you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and you go to bed at 10, just for argument's sake. So maybe instead of answering text right off the bat in the morning, you take that first hour of the day and that's just you time. And then at the end of the day, from 8 to 10, that's just you time as well. You're doing the things that you want to do instead of being all involved in all these other things. You're still doing everything, but you're still involved. It's just like these 3 hours are for you, and it's just it's gonna feel weird. It's gonna be like I'm usually like struggling to I'm involved in so many things that I don't have times to see straight, let alone take a breath. It's getting used to that difference. It's getting used to that healthier lifestyle. When you're used to being overtaxed and that becomes a normal way of life for you, when you start having a healthier way, the healthier way feels wrong. It just won't feel right at first because you've probably done the other way for so long. It's realizing that you need to get more accustomed and used to and accepting of a healthier lifestyle for yourself where you actually are happier. It's weird because when people hit this happier moment, sometimes they just feel like it's wrong. Like it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like I should be allowed to be this happy. And some people have that problem. It's reminding yourself that that's coming in and getting yourself in that rhythm, kind of like, no, this is good. I should have this time to myself. I should be happy. I should be allowed to be happy. I should allow myself to be happy. And that should be a normal thing daily, not a normal thing every once or twice a season. You know what I mean? Some people, when they have that happiness daily like that, it becomes really shell-shocking for them, and it's hard for them to get used to. So it's kind of like all these feelings come in, like things feel like they're out of control. I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm left out of the loop. I feel like I'm cheating out on people and I'm not really helping where I should. That's that toxic old behavior that you were probably trained into when you were very young, and getting out of it and breaking that cycle is something that's going to be a challenge, but you're going to feel this. You have to break that and be aware of it so that you can be happy and stay happy. So hopefully you hit that point where you can have more happiness in your life and you don't have these moments where you're feeling so drained constantly. And then your new normal will be that I need to have my personal time. I need to have time for me. I need to prioritize my feelings and my commitment to me. That becomes a new normal, and hopefully that will for you. That's where this reading is trying to lead you. I can see that, but hopefully that's helpful. All right, I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.